As the next speaker will be Matt Percival from Horizon. For the next 20 minutes, we'll be diving into the cyber trenches. So please welcome Matt Percival.
Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I want to thank you all for being here with me in amongst this great event, so hosted by Atea. The other is just wave your arms if I'm speaking too quickly. I have a tendency to do that, and I know obviously for you guys, potentially second language. So just wave your arms, call me out. Anyway, so why are we here, and who am I? Look, I've been involved in cybersecurity now for 25 years. I know I don't look that old, but I genuinely am. Okay? So I work for a company called Horizon 3. Who are Horizon 3? Horizon 3 are taking cybersecurity to the next level. We are taking what has traditionally been a purely defensive approach to technology and flipping it to an offensive technology approach. So we provide autonomous pen testing and offensive security platforms into some of the most critical infrastructures globally. So hopefully I'll be going through some of the experiences we have, sharing some of our observations, some shock and awe, which all of us are experiencing with AI and the propensity for AI to accelerate and exacerbate the challenges we have in our day-to-day in cyber. So bear with me, hopefully it will be useful, and by all means you can shout and show your appreciation and wave at me all the way through, make me feel like I'm actually doing a good job. So look, every vendor, every customer, every company, we've all been aware of this stuff, right? So what's going on whilst on the one side you've got major cyber breaches, and with Jaguar Land Rover, probably the highest value breach that's ever been recorded, certainly in my 25 years in the industry, whilst we're focusing over here on the noise, but we're not effectively making change. So the irony is we're working with tools and approaches that clearly aren't working. We're seeing $1.9 billion supply chain attacks being very, very successful. We're seeing Collins Aerospace supply chain attack shut down most of the European airports. And in fact, I was traveling that week. So I was one of the guys queuing at Heathrow, waiting to get to a partner event in Spain, wondering why they were issuing tickets manually. But also the other point of this is not just the distraction that's going on, but who gets the blame. So when I'm stood in the queue at Heathrow to get my manual ticket, tutting and huffing like everybody else, because I'm a corporate traveler, right? So I'm far more important than anybody else. They're blaming British Airways. They're blaming Heathrow. And it wasn't their fault. It wasn't them. It was Collins Aerospace, way back over here, who had the breach. So this is what we're seeing in the marketplaces. Even though you don't own the breach, you own the problem. And this we see time and time again. Similarly with JLR, downstream for JLR is the supply chain was absolutely screwed. So, supply chain, there were companies going under because JLR was shutting down. So these perspectives are really important for us because the point of the breach is not always where the pain is felt. Who's this guy? Why has he got a picture of a monkey on the screen? Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen this, this effectively was a Harvard experiment about perceptual blindness or inattentional blindness. Effectively, it was an exercise where they had Harvard undergrads count from a video screen basketball passes. You're really thinking I'm crazy now. You're looking at me like, what is he talking about? Right, so they were counting basketball passes. They were focused on the task, right? During this video of counting basketball passes. And these are smart guys and girls. They put a monkey in a suit. The monkey in a suit ran up to the screen, pounded its chest, and guess what? 50% of those people counting basketball passes did not see the monkey. Why am I telling you this? Is because our approach to cybersecurity has similar challenges. We are busy counting basketball passes and we are not seeing the monkey. And it's costing us, as per the prior slide, very, very dearly. So we need to be really, really aware of that perceptual blindness and ensuring that what we do and how we do what we do is super effective for our companies to be more cyber safe. I've got here some kind of anecdotes, if you like, from real customers of ours, that they've shared with us in conversation, be it over a dinner, a beer, a coffee, or in a meeting room. But fundamentally, if I read a couple of these out, look, know they need change to use technology and automation, but they need the vendor help to do so. They feel there's no clear vision of what testing is for. Why are we pen testing? What are we doing? And what are we being effective? When we talk automated AI-driven pen test with them, I think humans are afraid, we are naturally afraid of AI bringing down a service and blocking. Vulnerability tools, and I'll finish on this one, are not working. They're noise, noise, noise. So CVEs, we see lists of CVEs forever, but turn it on its head. Are my CVEs exploitables? Are they vulnerables? Am I vulnerable? Did I change an OS and therefore those vulnerabilities no longer exist for me? And these are the kind of questions that we see coming from our customers on a regular basis. Some more stats. I know you like stats, right? We're all in cyber, so it's all about stats. An Accenture study suggested that only 34% of organizations have a mature cyber strategy. I'm sure you don't fall into that trap. None of you, I'm sure. You're much, much more informed than that. But with AI-driven threats pushing things to a whole new level, this is quite frightening for me as a cyber professional. We're seeing 75% increase on attacks. That is only going to get worse, unfortunately. And I'll touch on AI a little bit. Targeting weaknesses faster than we can protect them. I think that is what we're seeing with AI. I've had a conversation with a few folks, some of whom I see in the audience today, but also during the day, about who's the most prolific user of AI. Is it the defenders or is it the attackers? And I think we all know in our heart the answer to that, and it's not the defenders. We are seeing a challenge of which we've never seen before really, really raise its ugly head. So we'll talk about that a little more. Attackers don't just use CVEs. So, CVEs from a vulnerability management perspective, they're combining CVEs with misconfigured software, expired OSs, maybe defaults that we didn't bother to change or were never changed before our arrival. Misconfiguration or non-configuration of security tools. We have a good story ourselves around EDR. Who doesn't have some form of EDR technology? Wouldn't it be great to be sure that it's been configured correctly? Policies that may be outdated or ineffective. And then, look, let's be honest, hackers don't break in, they log in, right? So if you've got credentials or you have folks leaving your business on a regular basis, wouldn't it be great if we could ensure that there are no credentials left hanging in the wind for the hackers to make use of? So again, that is super, super important that we can do this thing a different way. Obviously at Horizon 3, we feel we're bringing some of that, but also it will be part of working with the likes of Atea to make that more effective and to use offensive security versus defensive layers. I've talked about this a little bit already, but effectively AI is accelerating offense. We see Microsoft here, there's a quote there from them. They see a massive rise in AI. We've seen AI used in the wild, with a villager being weaponized. We see rewriting polymorphic worms, where they are evading attacks during the attack to stop themselves being stopped, which sounds like an absolute mouthful, and it is, but it's true, right? So we're seeing AI beyond where it began. AI began where it was effectively used as, hey, look, write a more effective phishing email for me in the language of which, the country of which I'm trying to operate. It's gone way beyond that to now a full polymorphic worm rewriting itself during the pace of an attack, so that if we are trying to defend against that as cyber defenders, it's almost impossible. Cyber threats are evolving faster than we can defend against them. And the AI is widening that gap. So, how we can tackle that and where we can tackle that is to train for the fight. I was talking somebody through this earlier on, I think it might have been Nicholas, I saw you in the audience somewhere. Wouldn't it be great if the first time you didn't get in the boxing ring was the first time you swung a punch? So taking an offensive cyber approach is like getting into a boxing ring the very first time you throw a punch and you're in a prize fight. Wouldn't it be better to train, use the speed ball, use the speed bag, do the things that you need to do so that when you get in the boxing ring, you are ready for the fight. And that is what we're talking about when we talk offensive security. I have a couple more slides. For those of you who don't know, the non-kind of cyber literate, a CISA-KEV is effectively a known exploited vulnerability. Now, you and I would think, as lay people, if there is something that has been published where it is a known exploitable vulnerability, surely that would be fixed, right? Be fixed today, tomorrow, in an hour, in 30 minutes. Certainly it would keep me awake. Some of the statistics that we see, the NCSC, which is the UK equivalent to CISA, recommends that we shut down a CISA-KEV within 5 to 14 working days. That in itself is a little bit scary. 5 to 14 working days where effectively I've left my front door open for anybody to help themselves to my crown jewels, my kids' savings or whatever else may be in my house. But actually it's worse than that. At 30 days, we see 85% of CISA-KEVs will remain unremedied. 85% of CISA-KEVs. And then even after 60 days, half of those vulnerabilities are still unaddressed. So that's 2 months where we've seen critical exploited vulnerabilities with the door open. So we kind of left the door open, maybe at our back door, and then we even left the keys in the front door and said, just help yourselves. It's pretty frightening, and it's frightening for me. And I'm in the industry, as are you guys. So we believe, from a takeaway standpoint, there's a better way to do this. So looking at exploitability versus vulnerability will help us get to the CISA-KEV type exposures more quickly, more efficiently, and possibly even ahead of the fact that they're published as CISA-KEVs. And here at Horizon 3, we published 2 unknown threats. One was with the Citrix bleed, where we were 2 months ahead of the game, and the other one was a recent vulnerability with F5, where we were about a month ahead of the game. So again, a risk-based vulnerability management approach, and also getting ahead of what we can do, doing things in a different way is needed, because those layers of the kind of onion from a defensive standpoint, they're not doing the job. And I should know, because I sold IPS, I sold IDS, I sold firewalls, I sold application firewalls, I sold Endpoint. So I'm kind of part of the guilty party, but equally, I feel that offensive security can help us change the game here and make sure that all of those technologies that we've adopted rightly in our cyber stack are working way more effectively, and our processes too can keep up should we get ourselves in a situation where we are vulnerable. I'm going to leave you with one last slide and one last takeaway. So here at Horizon 3, we do a lot of work with the likes of Department of Defense, the NSA, and in fact our founders, one of our founders was the CISA of the Cyber Command Unit in North America, and it's the reason we were founded. He effectively ran a pen test with the NSA. They gave him a load of recommendations to fix, and he went, great. So he rang the NSA again the next day and said, hey, those things that you've asked me to fix, I fixed them, can you retest them? And the NSA said, sure, we'll be back next year. Now, that was really ineffective use. So then he said to Tony P, who's our other founder, Tony, is there any way we could automate this and have a find, fix, verify approach to what we do? And that was where Horizon 3 was born. But when we do some pen testing, and we talked about 170,000 pen tests run in the last 12 months with ourselves, which is more than the whole of the pen test industry has done in its history, we learned some pretty bad stuff, as you can imagine, most of which we don't publish, but I want to leave you with this thought. During an autonomous pen test, we came away with this. We came away with file drawings for aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines from a third-party supplier to the Department of Defense. Please don't take a picture of this, I'll be in big trouble. I saw you, it's fine. It's all right, I'm only kidding, you can take a picture. These are the kind of exposures that we are finding on a regular basis with our clients, with our customers. So it's beyond the security stack, it's beyond being more defensively aware, it's actually about critical national infrastructure and defense and yours and mine's kind of well-being. So this is really, really important. We take it very seriously at Horizon 3, and we'd certainly love to talk to you some more about this. Should you want more information, please sleep well tonight. Don't worry about any of this stuff. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out. But yeah, come say hi to me. Come say hi to Anna. We're just over there on the side. I thank you all for your attention. You can now go crazy like you had a good time. Thank you.
Actually, before you give up your microphone, we did have one question for you in the chat.
Okay.
If it's okay.
Sure, I got a question. You don't need to leave yet.
Okay, so what are the 3 most important things, minimal things, that organizations should do now to improve their resilience?
That is a very good question. So, what should we do to improve our resilience? I would say first and foremost, don't do more of the same. Think differently. So you need to think differently. That's super, super important. The other is, have a reflection on some of the stuff that we've talked about today. Is there a different way to do things differently? Offensive security obviously being a primary one of those. But the other one is people. People, we are the weakness in anyone's cyber defense. We click on links, we do dumb stuff. Someone sends a cat that's doing some weird stuff. We're like, yeah, we like that. And all of a sudden we're in kind of a whole pain of cyber. I think we can train our people, we can educate our people, whether they are cyber professionals or not. I think it's down to us as cyber professionals to educate our children, our grannies, our mums, our dads, so that we can all just be more effective.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's give one more round of applause to Matt.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.